What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? Everyone. I want to talk to y'all about something. I be saying real quick, and sometimes it don't be real quick. But I just want to talk to y'all about something. I was having a conversation, and I was we were just talking about the dynamics of we were just talking about dynamics of family, friends, etc., etc. Don't you go, because it's my turn. Thank you. And this provoked a thought. Y'all know when y'all see, I just was daydreaming. I gotta come out of it. Y'all know when y'all see this, we in the car. It's a little hot. And I wanted to ask you guys something. I want to ask you two things. Have you ever thought about kind of who you are, the way you are? More so, not necessarily character all the time, but just in general. Have you ever kind of thought about who you are, right? And you come to the conclusion that, it's not a conclusion. You completely understand that came from genetics, your environment, right? So for an example, I have allergies. Terrible. Oh, I have to go to the left. I have allergies, terrible allergies. And whenever I'm having an allergy attack or what have you, sometimes I'll call my mom and I'll say, I just want you to know this is your fault, right? Because she has allergies. Or, when I was younger, I'm still young, but when I was younger, I used to be very flippant at the mouth, as some may say. And my mom, she's very strong personality. She gonna say what she feels. She old school, but also kind of a little bit new school. She thinks she don't do no wrong, da-da-da. And so I picked up some of those characteristics. So sometimes if something happens where I say something to a person and I know I shouldn't have, I'd be like, Ma, I just want you to know this is your fault. Because if you wasn't like this, I wouldn't be like this, right? Okay, so some of this is just what I've seen, and hey. So I always make jokes like that to her. Or sometimes my mom and my sister, they will say things like, oh, you talk just like your daddy. I'll be like, ciao. Right. Another thing, anger problem. It's from my dad. The whole, you not gonna disrespect me, respect it or check it, from my dad. My mom and my dad, actually, they both are very, very big on respect. Okay, I'm gonna have to go all the way back the other way, because I'm not gonna even try to turn around over there, right? So different things like that. Even good qualities. I've seen a lot of women in my family, all my aunts, to be honest with you, on my mom's side. I've seen them go over and beyond for men. I've seen them just help. They're such helpers. They will just go over and beyond. I'm like that. So sometimes you can have a good quality, but also realize you need to have a balance to that good quality. So, other things, and I'm just giving examples. My style, you guys have heard me say this 1,001 times. My style, how I dress, right? Thank you, etc., etc. That comes from my mom and dad, but it also comes from the city I grew up in. We pride ourselves on, oh, let me get the new Jordans. You got the new Timbs. Oh, man, you got that new Coogee, Avirex, Tommy, Eddie Bauer. That's when I was growing up. We prided ourselves on looking good, okay? So just different examples. But when you're doing a reflection, I want you to do a reflection about some characteristics of yourself. And I want you to kind of figure out where you think it came from. You don't have to be 100% right, but some of y'all kind of know, like, that's definitely my mama all day long, or that's definitely my uncle all day long. My son does some things sometimes, and it's almost scary. He'll do something, and I'll be like, oh my goodness, like, I just saw your Uncle TJ all day long. Or he'll do something, I'll be like, dude, you smile. I'll be like, dude, the way you look just like your dad, right? So that's half of what I'm talking about. But what do you do? And I have somewhat of an answer, but what do you do when you have a characteristic and now you found that that particular characteristic or trait about yourself or personality, however you want to describe it, actually is not a healthy thing? And now you have to work for something that you didn't even cause and or ask for. So when I was having this conversation with this person, I was saying, you know what I just thought about? I'm having to work through XYZ, and I'm like, I didn't even cause that. Like, that had nothing to do with me. That's not even how I get down. But I've been conditioned that way because that particular person exposed me to this or conditioned me to this. So I'm like, what's really going on? Now I have to change it and fix it and alter it in my adulthood because this was given to me. Okay, let me give you a more tangible example. Oh, is it right over here? Let me give you a tangible example. You could grow up in a household and they don't do affection. And let's say you get into a relationship, or you can even have children, and then you're not affectionate towards that child. And believe it or not, it does affect your relationship. But in your mind, you like, but this is all I know. So I don't even know how to think any other way, feel any other way. And then that person is saying, right, but affection is important. Or that child is saying, man, I wish my mom would just, or my dad would just, or whoever would just love me or hug me. But guess what we'll say? Well, my parents wasn't like that with me. Or whoever raised you wasn't like that with you. Which is valid. But here's why you have to be mindful. Because just because you were pre-exposed to something, it doesn't mean you have to continue that characteristic or that personality or whatever the case may be if it's hindering your adulthood. I talk to so many people and they are quick and confident to say, well, nobody's ever taught me that. Well, I didn't do it like that growing up, or that's not really how I am, or right? And we can find that a lot of our characteristics and what have you is linked to what we were exposed to, or an individual, what they may have said or not said, right? But then you don't take a moment to realize that it affects me as an adult. Then if you do realize it, you have to put the work in to correct only what you were exposed to when you were vulnerable, or when you had to stand, when you were younger, right? When you were vulnerable, when you didn't really understand right from wrong, so you only going with what you saw. Oh, I thought that's just what everybody did. I didn't know. You ever hear people kind of say, growing up, my family was dysfunctional, and I used to see my dad drink, or I used to see this particular person do this, and as they got older, they would look back and say, I thought every household did that. And then when they get older, they realize, oh, y'all parents don't argue every day? No? So like, they didn't argue in front of y'all, like fight? You never saw your dad drunk or like get high, or no? Oh, well, that's all I saw. So they begin to think that that is literally normal. And here's how I know that to be a fact. I worked in the foster care system, all type of scenarios. And I think I probably said this before a while back, but one of the challenges, and there's many, but one of the challenges that foster parents used to struggle with a lot is when a kid is placed in their home, right? And say I would come in, a counsel or whatever, they would say, and it may not be the first week, it may be like even just a couple weeks or a month, they'll say, Jennifer, I don't understand. They have their own room. We bought them a bunch of stuff. We don't yell at them. We support them, him or her, right? Or the siblings. We love them. We allow them to be them. They can pick their own foods. Why are they still struggling? Why are they having behaviors? Why aren't they listening to us? I mean, we're giving them everything. They have bikes. They can go outside. They have friends. We take them to the park. We take them swimming. We just came back from Disneyland. But it just seems like there's still a problem. What's going on? I don't get it. Because they think that if you pull them from a chaotic, unsafe, unhealthy, neglectful situation and give them everything they need, they think that's going to solve it. But they don't understand. And I just realized I just missed this entire green light. They don't understand, or they've never been in that situation in particular. Just because you're providing them all those things, you giving them all these good things, that's weird to them. It's uncomfortable. So being in a house and everybody's quiet, they like, that actually scares them. Not saying that being in an unhealthy, loud, chaotic environment doesn't scare them too. But they have been exposed to it for so long, they've now learned how to function in dysfunction. So silence at night scares them. Wait, why are you buying me all this stuff? I don't need it. Well, I bought them this stuff. They just want to keep wearing the same shoes. Right. They don't want to try any new foods. They just want to keep eating the same thing. Right. Because they've learned to function that way. They've been conditioned. While you're saying, all you used to eat was hot dogs? Well, how about you try a little spaghetti? No, thank you. Well, why? Because the mind is so powerful. The mind has conditioned itself to survive and be in survival mode, that although I know I don't really want to eat hot dogs all the time, I've become okay with it. So while you trying to introduce me to spaghetti and different textures, I'm not with that. And so the families would get offended. And I would say, let me ask you this. Because this is basically how it can go more often than not. Let's say you were at home, spending time with your family. The environment or what have you doesn't even have to be chaotic or bad. And let's just say that a complete stranger knocks on your door and says, you could be in the middle of dinner, cooking, laughing with your family, having a good old time. A stranger knocks on your door, walks into your house, doesn't explain anything to you and say, do me a favor, go ahead and stop what you're doing and I need you to come with me. Now, mind you, in the kids' mind, they're not going to necessarily say, why, where am I going, what's going on, da-da-da. They're not going to say that. So, even though you're the adult, let's paint this picture. Knock on the door, complete stranger. You, stop what you're doing, come with me. Okay, mind you, the kids can't say all of this. They can't even, they don't even know what's going on. Let's just, here, put your shoes on. Let me grab a jacket. Give me like maybe 2 pairs of sweaters, 2 shorts, 2 shirts, two pairs of pants. Okay, let's go. In a plastic bag. Get in the car. They not finna say, where are you taking me? No, they're children. Right? They put you in a car. And next thing you know, they drop you in the middle of Thailand. And say, knock, knock, knock. Oh, this is Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so. Here you go. Mind you, I tell the family, now you're a full-blown functioning adult. And what if somebody did that to you? Now, you're having this family who lives in Thailand, culture doesn't matter, but I'm just using this for an example, that's saying, eat this, try this, put this on. Nobody's asking, what's your favorite color? Do you like it? Does the smell of our house bother you? Does us laughing all the time bother you? Does watching this particular show? They're not asking you anything, because foster parents on average don't do that. They don't get a kid and start saying, let me get to know you. They're saying, would you like McDonald's? Would you go do this? Look at this, I bought you a bear. They may not even like stuffed animals. So imagine if they saying, here's Mr. and Mrs. blah, blah, blah. They're going to be that's your new husband, and this is your new daughter. And they're saying, hey, we're going to cook this. And you saying, wait, why don't you want it? Now, mind you, a child cannot articulate, but you're now the adult. So imagine how that would make you fearful. Imagine how you would be like, I just want to go back home. I'm not used to this. Granted, you guys have a beautiful home. The food smells great, but I don't know how you cooked it. I don't even know you like that. Everything about this, take me back home. Even if you was living in a home full of chaos and they put you in a mansion, take me back home. You know how I also know? Haven't you been on vacation as an adult, and after so many days, you ready to go back to your house? Even though you staying in a nice hotel, providing breakfast, you on vacation having a time, baby. We had a time last night. But there's a part of you that begins to feel like, but I want my own bed. Yeah, I'm getting ready to go back to these coworkers, this job, this stress, but you still want to go back. So sometimes we could be put into situations and we're not considering, why is the person functioning this way? Why can't they just change and be happy and da 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 da? So why am I saying that? Because we have several things about ourselves that was inherited. And I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I just told that whole story and I kind of don't remember why I was telling that. So let me get back to my point. But my point is, you have things about yourself. Oh, things you're pre-exposed to. You have things about yourself that you act this way as a whole adult because maybe your parents didn't know. Maybe they didn't know how to raise you. Maybe somebody didn't teach you, so therefore somebody didn't teach them, so therefore they couldn't teach you. But now you're an adult and you have those same characteristics and it affects you as an adult. And now you have to work to undo it. And I was telling the person, I said, man, that is so unfair. That could feel so unfair. I was conditioned to be I was talking about conditioning. I was conditioned to be this particular way that has caused challenges for me as an adult. This light is long. And now you mean to tell me I have to work to undo something that I was conditioned to do, that I was exposed to do, so I didn't know no other way to be? If that's not stressful and unfair and et cetera, I don't know what is. I didn't sign up for this. And you know that saying, we all have said at one time or another, I didn't ask to be here. But you have to be able to work through those things. Why? Because yes, it's difficult. Yes, it's challenging. Yes, it's unfair. But you know what? You didn't ask for it, but you still got to put the work in. You didn't want to, you like, why am I even having to deal with this? I learned this from my mama. I learned this from my daddy. I learned this from so-and-so. But guess what? You still got to put the work in. And a lot of us understand that a big part of who we are comes from what we've been exposed to, what we've been conditioned to do. We cook because of how we've been conditioned to cook. We shop because of the way we've been conditioned to shop. We talk because of the way we've been conditioned to talk. Why? Because that's what you were exposed to. That's what you heard your parents do or whoever raised you. That's what you saw your friends do, right? So you adapt those characteristics, and now you're an adult functioning from anger because you saw your parents be angry. You didn't see your parents or whoever was raising you problem solve, constructive criticism, healthy communication, being able to have tough conversations but in a loving way. So therefore now you an adult doing the most. I've been guilty of that. My mom was very hard on me. It was a non-negotiable. Go to college, be successful, da-da-da-da. And I had recognized a big part of along the way with my son, I put that same pressure on him to where I had to go to him and I said, hey son, I'm sorry. I got to allow you the time to grow up and make mistakes. I don't want you to feel like you have to have this pressure to do everything right. Go to school, make good decisions, da-da-da. You know why? Because I know the pressure that caused. I know how that pressure made me feel. And I wasn't doing it right, but I was doing that because that's what my mom did to me. And then when I fast forward, I say, well, I turned out okay. Yeah, I may have turned out okay, but there's also areas in my life where that pressure affects me negatively. So son, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I took some of the time to raise you that way. I'm going to work on that. I'm going to have more of a balance, right? We do that with our children. Okay, let's pause on childhood. Some of us have had a negative association with relationships. So then when you get into a new relationship, whether it's a friendship or whether it's a intimate relationship, guess what? You'll take some of the stuff from your old relationship and bring it into your new one. Because you may think everybody's like this, or you may think I'm doing this to protect myself. But you know what? You can't do that. You have to be willing to start fresh. That doesn't mean be blinded. But a lot of times we take what we've been pre-exposed to and we've been conditioned to function as, and we're doing it as adults. And we will convince ourselves that that's the way to be. Because what other way should I be? This is all I know. Again, in foster care, for an example, and this happens also outside of foster care, but in foster care, for an example, why should I be excited about this new home, my own bedroom, when all I know is I gotta sleep with 4 of my siblings, chaos and noise? No, this is weird. Your house is too quiet. Matter of fact, y'all too clean. Matter of fact, I don't want to sit at the dinner table. I'm used to eating in my room in front of the TV. Why are y'all making me sit at the table and talk? I don't want to do that. I haven't been exposed to that. I've been conditioned to go in my room, close the door, block out the noise. And I learned to function that way now. We like that as adults. That we are doing things as adults that we have been exposed to and conditioned to act or be or respond or say, right? Or lack thereof. You may not say. But you got to come to a place where you say, wait a minute. That's not healthy. Yeah, I was exposed to it. Yeah, it's not fair that I was exposed to it because I didn't ask for it. But it's my job to change it. You think that I want to change things about myself that I was not even responsible for? You think I want to? And when I say that, let's just be real. I'm like, why I got to put the work in? My mama should have never been mouthy. You should have never exposed me to that. My daddy should have never exposed me to anger and violence. So why I got to put the work in? That's my flesh. But because I love me, I say, you know what? Even though this isn't my fault, I love me enough to where I'm not going to live like this. I'm not going to function like this. Because I realize it's affecting me. You know what? I realize, this is an example. Even though that last relationship did the most, but you know what I realized? I'm not going to take this into my next relationship. I'm not going to make them pay for the tab that somebody else ran up. That ain't their fault. Yeah, I get it. It look a little same, sound a little same, feel a little bit the same. But let me give this a true healthy opportunity. Let me start with a clean slate. I don't want to go into nothing with a whole bunch of baggage, premeditating something that may not happen. And even if it does happen, what if this person is willing to say, oh, my mistake, my bad, let's work on it, I'm sorry. But because I see a sign, I'm already, see, that's why I don't trust people. Hold on. I didn't run up that tab, though. Give me my own bill. I made one mistake. Or maybe 4 mistakes. But every time I make the mistake, I do my due diligence to show you I'm just as passionate about changing and about being better. That last person didn't do that for you, but I'm willing to. So why are you charging me because they didn't do it? Give me the opportunity to show you I'm not the same. I'm not them. I'm not your past. But because you've been conditioned to unhealthy and poor relationships, you carry that everywhere you go. And then you have an illegal alt with love and trust when really that's not trust and love's fault. It's that person's fault. The new person can't carry that bill. Y'all have to build something new and fresh, which means you have to come to the table with not old residue. Do the work to be better. Do the work to grow. Watch this. Even if you're in a relationship or a family dynamic or a friendship or what have you, you can't keep holding on to that past. You can't keep waiting in the balance. I'm just waiting for them to do it again. No. And they probably will do it again. But check their fruit, meaning check their efforts, check their language, check what they're doing to be better. Are they talking like they want to be better? Are they backing it up? Are they providing you security, comfort? Or are you just automatically wanting to just stay in the past because, I don't know, I just ain't never going to be able to trust you? Then you need to take a moment and you need to be by yourself and get yourself together. Because you shouldn't expose somebody else to you not ready to be healthy and whole. Hope this makes sense. I love y'all. We'll talk soon.